Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome to this random live on Tuesday. And this is where I'm answering all of your questions. So amazing that you keep sending me questions and I keep answering them here so that it's useful for everyone who's listening. So today I want to respond to three questions. One is about being triggered. The other one is what is your criteria for quitting the humanitarian sector? And the third one is short term gratification central, meaning everything is just like 3 months tops of planning and nothing long term and what to do about it, right? So these are the questions that I have received and I would like to respond to them. So let's start with the first one, which is being triggered and what to do about it. And a lot of people probably believe that I don't get triggered and therefore my life is like sailing amazingly, which obviously is not true. But here is what I have found to be true for me then when I coach a lot of my clients is that when I get triggered, I tend to know who are the personalities that I possibly get triggered by. And I have observed this so much in my life that I tend to like more or less know what type of personality gets my onto my nerve, as I call it, right? Therefore, I as soon as I detect or as soon as I meet a new person who tends to have that type of personality that I believe triggers me, then I need to then get ready for how do I want to show up in the relationship with that person or in the meeting with that person, because otherwise if I actually get triggered, then it's not easy to me then get out of there, right? So therefore, I always know about who the personality who triggers me. Now the personalities, in case you're interested, the personalities that trigger me a lot of the time and used to is the personalities who tend to be very vague and like in the humanitarian sector we have colleagues who are very much talking in general terms in like I'm concerned about this and this type of like nothing concrete and everything is so wishy-washy. I get very triggered by that. And obviously, that means that I am judging that person, right? Another personality that I get triggered by is the very machoista or very like the old style managing type of personality who says, I'm the king here or I'm the queen here and everyone else should shut up and listen to me, kind of like, of course I'm exaggerating, but this type of personality that is very like I call it old school, right? So I used to have a manager who used to say that like we would sit down in I don't know, in a restaurant, let's say, having lunch or having dinner, and then he would say things like, "Oh, there is this thing that I need to discuss with you too, but we can do that in sauna," kind of thing, and it just triggers me so much. So I'm the other personality type that would trigger me is the personality that is so much like righteous or victimy or like victimy type of why everyone is not saving these people. We should all save these people. We are not doing our job if we're not saving them. It's all this is my guilt that we're talking about, or like this very unuseful way of wanting to mobilize people or wanting to make people feel bad, or wanting to keep saying that if we're not like dying for saving others, then we're not doing our job. Kind of like very, yeah, like savior, victimy type of personalities, and I think that those type of personalities trigger me a lot. Now, I have worked on this a lot, obviously, over the years in terms of how not to be triggered by them, right? And And one of the ways that I notice when I get triggered, obviously, is when I start either judging them, blaming them, expecting them to behave differently than they possibly can because this is their personality, right? And therefore, sometimes getting angry at them and wishing they were not the way that they were. And this is where it gets the problematic, is that a lot of humanitarian clients that I coach is that we get triggered by the same person, especially in the same office that we work, right? We get triggered by the same person over and over to the point that we just can't react to them in a healthy way, or react to them in a calm way, react to them in a way that we're not triggered. It becomes so difficult, right? So therefore, one of the main things that we need to recognize is that if we keep being triggered by the same person over and over again, then we are harming our health. We are harming our emotional health, essentially, right? We are getting tired so much. We are being triggered, our nervous system being activated the whole time, which means that we are being in survival mode. And therefore, we're not going to really focus on other things, doing other things, or everything that we perceive will become so much heightened. Heightened meaning that we become so sensitive, or we become so vigilant as to what this person's going to do. And I hear you, I have been there, right? So therefore, one of the main reasons why we need to work on stop being triggered by the same person over and over again, so that we are taking care of our emotional mental health. That's the reason. Like, we're not even doing this for the other person, right? We're doing it for ourselves. So therefore, when I have worked on not being triggered by the personalities that I'm describing, right? One of the main reason I've done this work is so that um, I don't suffer from my own nervous system activation, right? I don't suffer from my survival so much that I don't then have time to do other things, or I don't then focus on other things that are important to me. And one of the other reason why I think it's so important that we work on not being triggered by the same person over and over again, and instead find a strategy to deal with them, is because then we become so affected by their behavior, or we become so dependent on their behavior, that we start reacting to them the whole time, that we actually don't become independent of our own authority of what we are going to do and how we're going to do. We're going to be always reacting to that person, making that person powerful, and making ourselves powerless, right? Meaning that we don't feel then the equal feeling or powerful feeling in front of them to be saying the things that we want to, saying in the way we want to. Instead, it comes out as accusatory, it comes out as blaming, it comes out as angry or passive aggressive. And that's exactly what we're not wanting, because we're wanting to act according to our own standard of how we want to show up in workplace, and not at the expense or at the effect of other people's uh, behaviors or other people's personality. Because think about it, if we are going to be triggered by other people's personality, their personality is not going to change probably. Therefore, it's like it becomes so difficult then detach ourselves from them, right? And that's the main reason why we need to learn how to not be triggered by the same people over and over, so that we're not dependent on their behavior. We're not, our emotional state, our emotional health is not dependent on their behavior, and that's the reason why we need to do that. So that's why when I notice that I'm being triggered by this person or this personality, and I already know what personality can trigger me, then I need to take a deep breath, know that this is what may happen, and therefore I need to find a way within myself, this inner trust and inner power, inner feeling of this equality, or whichever the feeling that resonates with you. For me, it feels this feeling of feeling equal, feeling free to be behaving the way I want to, feeling trusting that I know how to do this without being triggered, and I keep staying on my own lane and doing the things that I want to instead of keep reacting to that other person, right? And that takes practice, and that's, I think, one of the best practice we can do, so that we're not continuously activating our nervous system and feeling triggered and feeling like exhausted, that we don't know what to do and how to handle such personalities. Now, the next question that I want to answer is when to quit, right? This is the question that I get a lot, is that like when to quit the humanitarian sector, and when not to quit, basically, maybe the other way to look at it. And the first thing that I would say is that I would always encourage you to come up with your own criteria of when do you want to quit versus when do you quit just because things got challenging or because things are not working the way that you thought it would be. And the reason why I think making a decision in advance about this is so useful, because then in the moment when we are again triggered, or when we are so in the midst of things are not working out, or when things are so challenging, then it becomes so easy for us to just say, well, F this, I'm just quitting, right? I was coaching a client recently, and she was telling me that every time things don't go the way that she expects things to go, she just, her brain offers her, okay, we're quitting, right? We're quitting, and we're quitting when we're quitting. And I was telling her that it's interesting that your brain always thinks that the solution to everything is just quitting, right? And this might be the pattern that many of us have adopted in the humanitarian sector, or maybe in general as well. This pattern that we have, that like when things get hard, the solution, the best solution is to quit. Or I just go for the easy way out, right? Or I can't really tolerate the challenges, because why go through them when I can just avoid and go to something else? Now, of course, you could probably continue doing that, except that now I'm also coaching humanitarians who are saying, who are recognizing that this is harming them in so much, because they have, for instance, taken up very challenging or high position job, um, and of course they want to grow in that job, they want to do that job well, they want to even go high up. Especially, I have clients from the global south who say that this role that I'm going for, this higher role, right? This is not only me that I'm doing this job, but this is the me representing a lot of the people from the global south who want their voice to be in that um, senior management rooms, who want their voices to be, or their representation to be in those headquarters that usually are homogeneous, or usually are occupied by other people, right? So therefore they feel like this is not only for myself but for all the people that I'm representing. Except that when the challenges come up, their brain also says that, well, this is too challenging, I just need to go and do something else. And then they just, their brain offer this easy way out pattern. And as soon as we go to and get used to that easy way out pattern, then we're going to continue avoiding the difficulty, and therefore not growing in the direction that we really want to, or not doing all the things, all the impact we want to in the direction that we want to. And instead we just keep going to the what's available, going to what's the easiest thing to do, going to not necessarily what we want to do, but at least we can just hold on to something else. And that's how we end up creating for ourselves a lot of instability, as well as we create more of the problems along the way by avoiding problems of growing in the first place. So therefore we need to stop this pattern of I'm just going to go for easy way out. And if we want to do that, then we need to learn how not to quit in situations where things get challenging, in situations where we might be growing to the next level and the next version of ourselves, but our brain is, of course, comfort loving brain. Who does not want that? And I hear you. My brain is doing exactly that today. Today, my brain is like, I don't think we should work today. so so as you can see, that's at every level, at every like growth level, the comfort brain comes up and just says what's the easy way out, and then we just go for that. Now this is the other thing, is that I don't think we, if we really look or listen to our higher self, right, if we really listen to our powerful self within us, if we really listen to that version of us, I don't think that we really want to just keep hopping around and going for easy way out. I don't think we want to do that. I think we actually want to grow and contribute exactly in the area that we really want to, at the level of complexity that we really want to, right? And go to the next level and then keep growing. That's, I believe, how we humans really, like, if we really truly and honestly admit it to ourselves, that's probably what we want. And therefore, easy way out and let's just quit whenever things get tough. That's something that becomes then the pattern. And interestingly, that pattern prevails then not only at workplace but also in our relationships as well, right? So it might be also in our relationship, in partnership, in marriage, or in other relationship with other people, that things just don't go as we thought it should, and then we're just ready to quit instead of finding ways to solve it, finding ways to find out why it's not working, what is our contribution to that might be, and what can we do about it. So therefore, I would always say that notice what is your criteria for wanting to quit, and what is your criteria when you should actually not quit. Now, here is the way that I have applied for myself in terms of when to quit the humanitarian sector. And I have shared this before, and I want to reiterate again in case anyone is new listening here. The reason why I decided to resign from my UN job, and this was 2020, right? The reason why I decided to do that at the time was I have tried to solve a lot of the problems, and I was willing to solve whatever the problems that were coming in my way. But then I asked myself, no matter how many problems I'm willing to solve, am I able to contribute and make the impact I want to? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no, right? So, in other words, I was telling myself I have no problem solving problems, right? And I have, in fact, solved a lot of the problems. I was feeling well. I was not in the position of, oh my God, I just need to get out of there. No, I wasn't having any like problems with my manager or with anyone. In fact, I loved my managers at the time and the team as well. So therefore, I kept like looking at, okay, no matter how much of the whatever new challenges I'm willing to solve, which I'm fine with it, do I really believe that I can make the impact that I believe I should be making with all of these resources that we're putting into? Am I like, do I really believe honestly that I can do that? And in the framework that I have, right, in the system that I have? And my answer was no. And that's when I decided to resign. And I was talking to a client of mine about this, and she was thinking in similar ways. Is that she was thinking that I am willing to try out a lot of different ways to solve things and move towards the impact I want to. And if it's not happening, then I just don't want to keep banging my head against the wall, right? So if you feel like you've been feeling like you are banging your head against the wall for some time, you've tried everything, it didn't work, then the honest question is, okay, then what is stopping you? Or then why not quitting? Right? And if you ask that question of yourself, maybe you will have a lot of answers coming behind it, which is, this is not going to work. Even if I quit, this will be failing, and all of the other things. And these are other questions that you need to deal with it, of course, to process them, to decide on them, to build confidence that you are the person who can actually make this transition happen and make it successful and all of this. But still, the fundamental question you have answered yourself, right? When to quit, and you know what your answer is. And you could also give yourself the deadline of by this time I will have tried everything within my control to solve things so that I continue working here. But if I see that none of them is leading me to anywhere that I really want to, then do I really see myself in this place long term? And if not, then what am I going to do? Right? So then you would go forward answering that question. Now, the third question that I receive a lot, which is the short term gratification, meaning that comfort zone of ours that is just stopping us from going for whatever uncomfortable zones that we want to go to, and what to do with that situation, right? No, I think we tend not to really, when we think about comfort zone, I think, or short-term gratification that our brain loves to go for, I think the fundamental thing that we're not really recognizing or really like realizing in our bones is that whatever the life that we're postponing, whatever the life that we're not living, whatever the life that we really want to, but it's just something that remains to be a dream, then obviously we are currently not living the life we want to, right? We are not living the life that we truly desire because of that short term gratification. And I think that's really the fundamental awareness or recognition or admission, maybe, that we're not really seeing it. Because I think in order for us to be able to overcome the short term gratification that our brain has, in order to do that, we need to have the desire of not being in this current situation so much so that we're willing to do anything to go to the other side, right? This is the example that I keep giving from my own life is that as I keep saying that until 27 years old, I kept living my life so much like in the victimhood of being victim of my life circumstances, being victim of other people's emotions and other people's judgments, being victim of my own judgments, right? That I just was so tired of living that life, and I was so tired of living surviving life. And the desire to change or desire to no longer live that life was so high that it didn't matter what I had to go through. I was just like willing to go to the other side. It doesn't matter. Like I'm willing to even suffer if necessary to go to the other side, because this life that I'm currently living, the life that I keep surviving, the life that I keep complaining about, the life that I hate, the life where I don't like most of the people that are in my life, or the life where wherever I am going, I don't even look forward to going for it because it's just like going from one thing to another like zombie. I really didn't want to have that life anymore, right? That's when the change started happening. So therefore, the desire to not be in the life that we're currently experiencing should be so high that we're not willing to allow our brains to keep showing us the short-term gratification, or to keep holding us in the uncomfortable zone of our comfort zone. Because a lot of people tell me that, well, even though it's a comfort zone where I know all the things, where I know where the problems are in the humanitarian sector, right? I know what all the problems are. But I also am afraid of the unknown, so therefore I'm going to stay in the known. But what we're not realizing is that keep staying in the known, which is not the one that we like, excuse me, is how we're experiencing our lives, right? If we keep saying that life is short, we need to like get to doing things that we want to, living the life the way we want to. If we keep saying that to ourselves, then obviously every time we're choosing to be in the uncomfortable parts of our comfort zone or stable zone is when we're not living the life that we want to. And are we willing to make that sacrifice for the sake of short term gratification, for the sake of not overcoming our short term gratification brain? Are we willing to sacrifice that? Are we willing to accept not living the life we want to because of holding on to the short term gains of, let's say that we wanted to seek help, but we decided to save our money and therefore we didn't seek help. So that would be short term gratification, right? We hold on to something that we have materially so that we don't go for the emotional help that we want to, for instance, right? Or another short term gratification is maybe we decided not to be uncomfortable to go and work out after work, but we know that our health is suffering. Or short term gratification of not really going for the job that we really actually love, or the life that we really love, being with our loved ones that we want to, but we're too afraid to make that jump or that change, and therefore giving into the short term gratification of our brain, right? So therefore, the more we become the victims of short-term gratification that our all of our brains are wired to do or to behave that way, if we keep being victim of that or hostage of that short-term gratification, then we're definitely not living the life we want to. And all we're doing is we just keep postponing and postponing until the time when then we won't even have the desire to change. We won't even have the desire to go for the things that we want to, because biologically also we probably are like, okay, this is the I'm in this age, I don't think I should go for it, and then I we just stay where we don't want to, right? And that was something that I was really afraid when I was realizing that I no longer want to be in the humanitarian sector because of the impact that I felt like I wasn't able to make. I realized if I don't do it now at the age of 35, if I don't do it at the age of 35, I will probably never do that. I will probably keep explaining to myself along the way why my age is not good enough, why this, why that, right? And therefore, I really needed to feel all the uncomfortable feelings possible, all the fears possible, to go and transition to the life I wanted, and living with my loved ones, doing the things that I love with people that I really love doing it, and being paid well for it and replicating my salary and more. That's the life I really desired, and that's the life I have created. And I would love for you to do the same. And therefore, as long as we keep letting other people who we are triggered by, right? If we keep letting them decide where we can go and where we can't go, or what we can do and what we cannot do, or if we keep quitting every time there is challenges that come in our way, and therefore we keep developing or reinforcing this pattern of easy way out, or if we keep just giving in to our short-term gratification brain and never seek help needed, or doing this yourself as well, even if you are feeling all the uncomfortable feelings and all the fears, doing this anyway because you really don't want to sacrifice your life that you want to live because of the short-term gratification wiring of your brain, then absolutely you should go for it. And I would love to help you in this process, as I have been helping so many amazing humanitarians. I would love to do that with you as well. So, therefore, if you would like to, please come to my group coaching where we are doing this together with so many other amazing humanitarians. So, message me for this. In the meantime, have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for being with me and listening to this and watching this. And if you have any more